Hello and a warm welcome back to the Knitting by the Seaside and me, Brit Strikkenerd. Hello and a warm welcome back to this podcast about knitting, and I am this lady from Norway, so excuse my Norwegian English. I have played a few episodes in English before, and now I have a long vacation holiday since July. And yes, someone has followed me by the sailboat vlog I have made this summer. About 3-4 weeks we have sailed along the Norwegian coast. And if you don't have seen it before, you can go on my sailboat vlog 2023 and you can take a part of this lovely vacation when we travel with a boat. It's so meditative to go with a sailboat, and now my little cat is coming. Perhaps he want to say hello. Perhaps he want indoors. I tried to play it outdoors this evening, but perhaps I have to go indoors because it's a little dangerous of rain in the weather. I can feel it, but we try. It's so much nicer to sit out, and it's a very warm weather, so we try to play it outdoors. Yes. And I just finished the Norwegian podcast, and all the things are still out, so it's so much easier to do it finish to you too, and instead of moving all my things and knitting and yarn into the living room that I used to play when I indoors. So we take a chance to give this little episode outdoors. Yes. And it's a while since I have talking English, so I'm a little rusty, not practice so much this English spoken word, so yes. But we will try it as good as we can and say goodbye to this Mrs. Perfect that is jumping out of this shoulder and scream to me, why are you doing this? You not can this language very good. Oh, but goodbye to you, and we try. I have this wish to get known to make new knittings friends, get some new inspiration when I make new knittings friends, and I also want to share my knitting joy of knitting and knitting inspiration from this corner of the knitting world in Norway, Frøya. Yes. And my name is Brit, and in the social media I call myself Brit Strikkenerd, but this podcast in English I often call Knitting by the Seaside, because my house is next to the sea. It's only a few meters to go and take a walk to the sea and take a bath. I shouldn't take a bath. But it's a very nice and quiet place. But we have a lot of animals that can make some noise. You that have seen my episode before. No, this can come a sheep, and you have hear some ghosts and birds. And now this cat is with me, but I think he will calm down and take a nap with side of me, I think. Oh, there is in the camera. Ooh, yes. we have to see a way to go. Yes. Perhaps you want to see it? Yes. Come on, you little kitty. Come on. Psst, psst, psst. Come on. Shall you say hello? Hello to the viewer in the world? There you have this little muska. He has a little rather funny name in these days. He's called Putin. It has nothing to do with the Putin in Russia, but because this is a very kind Putin. Shall you take a walk another place? Yes, this was my little cat. I have one more cat. He is called the Stormy. Storm, yes. He is the boss of the house. Putin is much more kinder and cozy cat. Oh well, there was a cat. We knitters always has cat. I think some animal many of us have. Cat or dog? Yes, I have a cat and a dog. My tongue is not so used to talk this language, but we shall not talk so much other things. We have because it take a long time since I make this episode. It has have a the life has been in my life. We Ola's children. In August, experienced sudden death is in very near family, and in that days it was completely pointless to make a podcast or be active on the social medias. So if someone wondering where are Brit Strikenerd, she is never in the Instagram and we never see any episode. It is this reason. But the life goes wider, I think, yeah. But life goes on. You can also say it, I think. Now it's a day to take this episode wider and try to get this little knitting inspiration out in the world again, I think. Yes. And what have I knit since last episode? When I played in the last episode, I showed you that it was hanging a pullover here that called Between the Petals pullover of Teti Lutsak. Yeah, it's and I only have been finished with a joke, and that the pullover should be a gift for my oldest daughter, Ola's daughter, that calls Ane, and she always be with us on our sailboat journey in the summer. And I think I had that thought that she should get this gift when we have this journey, and we should celebrate her 30 years old birthday when we were on this holiday. And I have to knit very fast and quickly the last day, and also when we start the journey, I knitting to get finished. And about a week after we have started journey, I get finished with this fantastic, beautiful pullover or jumper Between Petals of Teti Lutsak. And my daughter loved it, and it makes me so happy. I get this happy heart. It is a Sarah always calls it. She gets this happy heart. It's jumping heart and happy heart, and that also gave me a happy heart that she loved so much this new jumper. And I can show you some picture of me and of her in this lovely jumper. And when you see this movie, the first raindrops fall in my head, so we have to rush it by there and hope we can get finished with this episode before it's get much more rainy days. A lot of coffee drinking in between here, yes. So that was a finished project from this summer, and I am sitting here with a new finished project that I started on this summer, and a lot of you is familiar with this design. That is a Norwegian designer called Wenche Roald, and this particular jumper have now been a world famous jumper. It's called Wilfredo sweater, you can call it, and you as many of the knitters in the world say it is similar with the love note or ranunculus, and I agree, because you can use anything of yarn in this. You can use two kind of yarn, one thicker yarn, you can play it with a mohair, and yes, it's a lot of things to play with and make this fantastic, easier but nice jumper. Yes, and it is this pattern on the joke that is the special with it, and the rest of it is easy peasy knitting. Yes. And this one I have knit in my own yarn, this wool yarn from my own sheep called Wilfredo. And you know, we have this special episode when my husband and I try to explain more about this wool, this special wool from Norway, with this sheep that is of the old Norwegian race, and from the Stone Age, I think we can call it. But if you go to this episode, I have the we're talking in Norwegian, but I have subtitles under, so you can understand what we are talking about and perhaps learn about this sheep. You find it in my playlist here on YouTube. Yes, and I have now knit this jumper, this Wilfredo. I have knit a Wilfredo like before. Yes, you see it here. Here I use yarn from Hillesvåg called Soergen with mohair, and here also I use this villsau yarn or villull, my own, from my own sheep, and I have mohair from yarn dyer from Norway called hettestrikk, and I love it so much. And even if this yarn is a thicker one that the Soergen yarn was, I have used the same needles. For I want it a little bigger, and that I get, and this is a autumn jumper that I can have under my jacket when the autumn is coming, and it's very warm. And my intention was to knit it before I should travel to England. I had just been in England to a fantastic music festival that is in the south of England, in Dorset area, I will think, not so long ago from Salisbury. This music festival called End of the Road Festival, and it's a lot of Indian music, or it's a lot of very, very big what can we call it? It's a lot of different music, from indie music to classic to heavy metal to country. It's everything. And for me, that is a music lover and love very a lot of music. That is a fantastic festival. And when you come in this festival, there is you have live in the tent. I can buy a tent this weekend with a bed inside. It's a little glamping, you call it, I think, and all is there. But you have not. It's not a hotel, so you live in the tent. All live in the tent, and it's not any store, ordinary store. It's only the restaurant that come in this festival got up this evening and this weekend, this long weekend, we did start every Tuesday, and I and Ola has been there. This is the 10th of year we is in this festival, but we know hasn't been there since 2019, so it's yes, it's a couple of years that we not has image to go there, so it make us so happy that it's now happen again, and it was such a lovely, like every year this festival, and I shall try to set in some movies and picture that you can see what this happy place is. I call it my paradise. I hope when I die I hope to come into a place like this with my angel wings, I hope. Yes, so that I also have done when I have an extra holiday, you can call it, now in September. So I just come back from this traveling, yes, and then before I should go there, I have to be finished with this jumper. So I knit and the last week before we go, and I imagine to be finished. I wash it the day before we go, and get dry in my bathroom, hanging around that I could pack it in my backpack. Yes, so it was a good thing to have, because in the evening that get a little colder, and it was good to have this oh, there was the cat again, this warm jumper to go into. And it will be, it is very warm because of this Willull yarn, you know. Yes, and now I'm bubbling, and I hope you understand. So even I am a little out of practice, but now we have started again, and I hope to get more every week about take this new babbling knitting podcast out to you. Yes, and I have to thank you for all the new viewers that have come into my YouTube channel, and the lot of thanking I have to send out in the world is to Inga in Knitting Tradition. I give her some of my Willull yarn because I know she is a lover of this wool and the Norwegian wool, but I never see her and hear her talking about villsauull. So I asked if she want to try and knit with this old Norwegian wool, and because she is a Norwegian knitter, but she is an English speaker knitter's YouTube channel, and I warm recommend it to go to her. She is so inspired to follow, and she is very good in English too. And you find it in the YouTube as Knitting Tradition, and she called Inga. Yes, and she get this yarn, and she has talked about the yarn, and I think a lot of you have find my channel when you see this episode of Inga, and she is knitting so cool thing of my Willull, and I have to show you a little picture of Inga when she shows what she is knitting. And this jacket, or you can call it a cardigan, is called a cloud cardigan of a designer called Colibri by Johanna, and I have these wishes to knit it myself. It was so a cozy jacket and sweater or cardigan, and what you can call it, and she used two yarn, yes, you can tell it, two yarn of the Ulla yarn, it's the gray one, and knitted double yarn, and in the whole jacket, except if in this end of the arms and here in the bottom she only used one yarn, and you get a little faster, I don't think it was that, yes, a little strammere, yeah. I don't know what the English word is, but yes, you get this nice ending to the arms, and you see it in this picture, and I is looking forward to see it almost finished in perhaps the next episode she will send out. I'm waiting for that. Yes, and I recommend it to take a look, and perhaps I shall knit the same jacket, and perhaps other want to knit the same. Yes, and Wilfredo. We were talking about Wilfredo, and I have this knit along, Wilfredo av Wenche Roald in my Reveille group called Knitting by the Seaside. And I hope you will get a member of this group and perhaps knitting this Wilfredo of Wenche Roald together with me. This is my second, and I shall knit one more with this little crazy yarn like this. So I get from a Norwegian yarn dyer. I take this name under here, and this color shall be my third Wilfredo, I think. So wait and see. That will happen. In Norway, I also have knit along with Wenche Roald, but there we can knit all we want of Wenche Roald. We could do that, we also, but Wenche Roald will not have so many English pattern translate in English. We have talked to Wenche, and we tell her that she must translate a lot of this wonderful pattern that she had. But that I think I should do. What I can take in the Reveille group. I can write a little capital, yes, about what you can find of Wenche Roald's English pattern. That you can find it. I can write a link. I don't know what to call it, but I write it down every pattern that Wenche has translated in Norwegian, in English. And if you want to knit something else than Wilfredo, we can have also that as a knitting along. I think these mittens that I have started in winter, that is called Scandinavian Christmas mittens. They are in English, and she also has someone else in English. This mittens, and it's time for mittens knitting here in Norway. I think the autumn is always a fine season to knit and prepare these mittens for the winter. And perhaps that is for other in Europe or America and Canada. So I shall write it down in my Reveille group, mittens or another pattern that Wenche has that's in English, and we have this knit along with other Wenche Roald's design. Perhaps because I want Wenche to be a little more known in this world, and she has this a very popular designer about this Wilfredo, but she have also a lot of others design, and this is only in Norwegian. I think this is called Soergen free. You can call it free sorrow. I don't know, but this I knit in the Hillesvåg yarn called Embla. It's a tickles, I think. And now I can start with the arms, and this will be a good colorful jumper to have in this autumn season. So I hope to get finished soon, perhaps before we start in the October. In October you can get a little more chilly, yeah, days in Norway. Today is a very hot day, very unusual hot day in Frøya. It's good. It's very good to sit here and talk with you. Self on the sun is it not here? Yeah, no. Let's do nothing. Yes, this was also a lot of Wenche Roald knitting, and go to my Reveille group and you will find some tips in Wenche Roald design that is written in English. Yes. Shall we go a little further? Yes. And then we shall talk about hats. I knit a lot of hats, and The reason of that is that I am going along with other knittings along, called Hat on My Head, that Norwegian podcaster is doing. And the last time, and in July, I knit this hat called bottom pass hat of is Norwegian, of is English, of a spade tricot. And I knitted in my own yarn that was colored by this Norwegian hand dyer Hettestrikk. And this is the color we call, I have to see if I find it, heather. This is the heather. And we just have this season with a lot of heather in this island. And it's this lovely, lovely, lovely color, I think. And I only have this wish to knit a lot of bottom pass hat. Is all the other colors of this beautiful hand-dyed Wilsev yarn. But now we have take this one. And the other hat she in the August that I had not been finished with, that was this pressed flowers hat. Amy Christopherson, she is called the designer, and that was a fun knitting. Do you see this flower? Yes, that is a technique that you get this flower, and the hat shall be a lot of this flower. And Amy has also used this flower in lots of other pattern that she has designed. And a beautiful cardigan that I love to knit. I have this knitting wish. Isn't it nice? And I don't remember the yarn I use, but I have buy it when I was in holiday, in my sailboat holiday, and in the town called Kristiansund. Perhaps I shall tell you more about the yarn I bought in this shop in the next episode. I cannot do everything in this episode. That will be so long episode. Yes, but it was the pressed flowers hat. Yes, that I not have been finished with, but little. Go to it. So perhaps I soon be finished. The next hat that is in the September and October is called Bivouacs hat of Amy van der Laar. You see it here. And Marit has knit this hat before. She knit it last year in my wool. And that I also shall do. I shall knit it in this green color. So Hettestrikk has colors for me. So now the next hat in the head knit along, it shall be Beeswax hat of Amy in this green. So perhaps I don't know if I get to be finished next episode, but perhaps this first. Yes, this pressed flowers hat before first. Yes. Okay. Oh, I have jumped here and jumped there, and that you see, I not had so many things finished, but I knit a little here and little there, and you know, I talk about this knitting motion that not was so high when we get this sad message about this sudden death in our family. But a little knitting I have done, but perhaps not so much finish, but a little here, a little there, and suddenly you get finished with a lot of things, I hope. And I have a shawl that I have this thought to knit in this holiday, but I not get finished, only almost finished. And here it is. It calls in Norwegian Baronessa shawl. And I have knitted is this one color with faded yarn. We call the fargespill in Norway, and it's a pink faded, you see. And I only have one little border again, so that I shall manage to get finished with till the next episode, I hope. and it's very, very cozy. It's a Norwegian designer called Gunn Irene that has made this design. She also have one in English called Angel Shawl, I think. So if you want to knit something from Gunn Irene, you can go in her Revelry side and you will find this shawl pattern also. Yes, and I have to find it. Here it is. In these days, the big Norwegian knitting community has this money. Collecting money for the cancer, this children cancer, and the children cancer is a yellow color here in Norway, and we can donate money to different projects. Some sell patterns, some sell yarn, and all go into this children cancer collection. Yes, yeah. I hope you understand what I mean. And I have bought some yarn from a colored yarn dyer called Støtt, and this was a yellow, of course, and now it go into this anchor tee, a yellow anchor tee, and I have just finished one ball, 100 grams ball, and it shall be enough to be finished with a whole anchor tee with one more yarn I have. I have only 200 grams, but it shall be enough. So that has been a happy knitting, and I don't have this anchor tee more because I have lost some weight, and all my anchor tees have gone too big, so now I get a little more past me. That is it will go fine to me. Oh, it's so difficult to find this word. And you hear this noise? I don't know if there's someone with a saw or little things in the garden, I think. Yes, and we are a little it's not many houses around this area, so it's because it's very not a windy day, and then the noise is flying around here. Yes. Some coffee and bubbling by there. Yes, this was this children cancer knitting community, knitting yes, all we knitting in this to get this money, and we take to write and take picture and have it in this knitting along in different places in the Revelry, and yes, Instagram, and all the way. And this was the one I have with this yarn, and you also have is a knit along there. You can knit yellow things or children clothes. So we go wider with the petite knits and anchor. I have just started to knit this anchor one piece little for a little baby 2 to 4 months, and I never knit this before, and now I use a lot of needles to get this right knittings fast, knittings up like. And now you hear this ice big car also. Yes, and here I have cleaned my yarn stuff, and find some 200 grams merino fine wool from Sandnes, and because it not will be enough with this 100 grams balls I have in one color, I have to use both of them. But I think that it will be a nice little baby one-piece clothes. Yes. So that I started in because of this knit along. And I know of a few babies that shall be born now in this autumn and winter, so perhaps it can be a little gift for them. Yes. Yes, and I have to knit. I have to knit. I have to drink this little coffee when I'm babbling so much. Yes, when I was in the end of the road, I sell. I have with my knitting, of course. Of course, I have with my knitting. And then I think that was knit a plain vanilla sock. Yes, and I use a pattern from McKiernan. I think she called McKiernan. That is a free pattern, and it's a plain vanilla socks. And I think it was just what I needed. And because you is outdoor, I have this beautiful Christmas bag, knitting bags, that is in have this. I don't know what it's called in English. We call it voksduk here in Norway, and when you have this one, it's not do anything if it's dirty or wet because it's plast. Yes, very very good thing. And this yarn is a pixie yarn, and the pixie yarn dyer is Soergen from the Somerset area in England, and that is about the same place where this festival is. So that was a little meaning to knit these vanilla socks in end of the road with a pixie yarn from Soergen in the Somerset area, yes. And I was finished with one, you see, and I started to the another. So it's not a very very long time to get it finished. And you always have use for this vanilla socks, I think. Yes. Yes, that was all about the knitting today. I think it was the most important was to come in the practice to make this knitting podcast again. You hear I am a little out of practice, so I have to practice. Yes, practice and practice. And now I hope I have find out how I do it again, and can come often out like I do before the summer. So I can talk about the knitting to all of you, and I love to get these comments and perhaps some inspiration from you all. And when I was in Salisbury is the little town before I go either to End of the Road Festival. I visit a little yarn shop, but I not have nothing of wool that I love all the most. They only have a lot of acrylic, and I do think that in the people in Salisbury was most fond of crochet. It was a lot of crochet tips in this little shop. But I find a little souvenir yarn that is a socks yarn that have not clean wool. It's a superwash wool, but this pink was a happy yarn. So I get this as a souvenir from this little shop. It's called Zigzag, and I have one time bought a similar in England, I think. Yes. So that was the only little yarn I bought when I was in England. But I have buy a lot of yarn when I have traveling in this summer. I have I not find so many yarn shop, only one when I was in the sailboat. But I have visited Oslo, and there I have visited a lot of yarn shops, you know. So that I shall show you another episode. Yes. And my plan for that yarn, of course. But now I think I will end this little episode with show you some picture and movies from this lovely little festival in England called End of the Road. And if you live near this this festival, I will recommend you to travel. It's so a lovely place and lovely days in this area. So, till we meet again, happy knitting and goodbye, everyone.
black sand of the bays dabbles in the graves. Coach and 6 of